and welcome to the SOfit Program Coordinator and Coach Training. Thank you for taking the next steps to provide health and wellness education, support, and programming to your community. You are making a huge impact and difference. The goals of today's training are to understand the SOfit program and why it is important, understand your role in implementing SOfit, learn how to build positive health behaviors and be a role model to support your athletes, that you feel empowered to advocate for the health needs of people with intellectual disability, and that you're able to create your own SOfit activation plan. We have two main health programs at Special Olympics, and the one that has been around the longest is the Healthy Athletes program. It is a screening program led by trained medical professionals in a variety of different disciplines that is completely free for all athletes. This is an incredible program because it identifies a lot of health needs within our population that may have otherwise gone unnoticed. Healthy Athletes falls within this small circle that you see here. It is a program that targets health at an individual level. But we understand that this isn't enough. An individual can't sufficiently improve their health if all of these other players that you see within the larger circle aren't playing the role that they should be. Our newest program, Healthy Communities, is trying to change that. We want to ensure that people with intellectual disability have the same access to care in their communities as individuals without disabilities. This means that we have to engage families, coaches, healthcare providers, and the systems that enable real change to happen. The SOfit program falls into that community support level that you see here. It's trying to build off of the individual's strengths and use the resources available within the community to support health. One avenue for us to do this is through Special Olympics practices or online sessions. These are statistics from our Healthy Athlete screening in the health promotion and fun fitness disciplines. As you can see, our athletes have a high prevalence of obesity and high blood pressure. They may also be at greater risk of falling or injuring themselves due to poor flexibility, strength, and balance. The SOfit program is a great intervention to address many of these different health disparities. SOfit falls within our Healthy Communities programming. It is designed to be a unified program, and it fits so well with all that our schools and communities are doing. Unified means that people with and without intellectual disability are working together in the same team. It is structured to include both an educational and physical component, and really focuses on all the different kinds of wellness that make up a person's health, not just clinical wellness. While Special Olympics Washington has goals we are aiming to meet with our programs and the impact that they can have, SOfit often helps schools reach their own goals as well. In the state of Washington, over 50% of youth and adults in Special Olympics are overweight or obese. SOfit builds the skills an athlete needs to not only perform at their best on the competition field, but more importantly, improve their health and increase their quality of life. So, who does SOfit involve? There are many stakeholders who work together to ensure that the SOfit model functions. Special Olympics Washington health staff oversee wellness programs in all areas of the state, including SOfit. Our state is broken into 12 different geographical regions called areas. Some areas have wellness coordinators who are a part of their area leadership team, an amazing group of volunteers who help implement local programming and events. Wellness coordinators are the key liaisons between Special Olympics Washington and our coaches who are implementing wellness programs such as SOfit. Some areas do not have wellness coordinators, in which case coaches and program coordinators will communicate directly with the Special Olympics Washington health staff. Coaches and program coordinators are key in implementing SOfit at weekly practices and meetings, ensuring that unified partners are working towards their goals and informing parents and caretakers of the program or any at-home responsibilities. While SOfit certainly facilitates weekly discussions, practices, and meetings, it's also important that athletes, parents, and caretakers are thinking about exercise, nutrition, and hydration outside of Special Olympics practices. SOfit is broken into 8 sessions, ideally implemented during one practice or online meeting per week over the course of 8 weeks. However, there's flexibility if that doesn't work out for your team specifically. Typically, SOfit lasts the duration of a Special Olympics sports season. Teams can most definitely repeat the program from season to season. One team could do multiple 8-week sessions, for example. We ask that teams participate in a minimum of 8 weeks of programming. This is how you'll qualify to win prizes and incentives. Here's a sample timeline of how a SOfit program can be conducted. Important markers to remember are week 1, week 4, and week 8. There are a few weeks where you will be asked to complete additional tasks. During week 1, athletes will receive their athlete playbooks. They will make a health goal using the My Personal Health Goal worksheet, and they will complete their lifestyle survey for week 1. During week 4, you will check in with your wellness coordinator or Special Olympics Washington to see how things are going. Although this may happen more regularly in the virtual environment. Athletes will complete the Athlete Lifestyle Survey week 8 in the 8th week of programming. And at week 8, athletes who participated in at least 6 out of the 8 sessions will receive a certificate and a prize. The team meeting format will look a little different for each and every team that participates in SOfit. Learning takes place best within a respectful, comfortable, structured environment where expectations are clearly known. But the length of class as well as the structure can vary. Each class must include these elements of wellness. Number 1 is an educational component, and number 2 is a movement-based activity. It is essential to outline and time out each meeting to ensure the correct amount of information can be covered while leaving time for relaxed, positive, productive discussions around the topic. The outline here is a guideline for a 45 to 60-minute class, though each group will vary with their unique needs. When sessions take place online, attention spans are certainly shortened, so we've adapted the typical 90-minute class model for this reason. Athletes and families also appreciate knowing the topic and agenda ahead of time to know what they can expect for that day. Here's an example of the 90-minute class model, better for in-person meetings. Groups will check in for 20 minutes together, have 10 minutes of sharing time, do 30 minutes of their educational component and activity based on the subject. This is where a guest speaker might be great to come in. Breaks are often necessary, and finishing up with a 20 to 25-minute physical activity, for example, a yoga class, walking, or an exercise circuit. In order to successfully plan a session, it's important to break down each of these different components of the session. If your session is virtual, during the first meeting and check-in period, definitely take some time to go over the Zoom basics or whatever type of video conferencing platform you're using. This is a great time to say hello, allow for athletes to engage, and reinforce expectations for partners to be in contact with their partner throughout the week. For the group sharing time, in a virtual environment, this component can also be combined with the previous check-in time. For in-person group sharing time, this is a great time for participants to share their positive experiences from the week and any challenges that they've had. For the educational component and activity, in a virtual environment, limiting the presentation time to a basic, digestible amount of information is key. When these sessions occur online, the content will need to be adapted. It may not look exactly like the curriculum content. Athletes are much more engaged when they can participate, share their thoughts, and do an activity together and get their bodies moving. You will have access to a slide deck to help facilitate the educational component and activity that you choose. You don't have to use the slides. They're meant to be a tool for you to have as a visual aid for participants. For in-person educational component and activity section, you can bring in a guest speaker and do a group activity based on the subject, or you can pick a lesson out of the curriculum content and have participants do an activity in their athlete playbook. For the physical activity component, this might look pretty similar for virtual and in person. Virtual workouts are fairly easy to coordinate. You can use our School of Strength exercise videos, our Fit 5 exercise videos, or you could actually assign the physical activity component to happen after the session. For example, go on a walk and send a photo to your unified partner. For both virtual and in-person SOfit activities, make sure to provide modifications for athletes who may be in wheelchairs or have mobility limitations. And always reach out to Special Olympics Washington if you need ideas. For in-person physical activity section, You can do a group yoga session, group stretching, a cardio circuit, go on a walk together, or try something new. This is a great opportunity to be creative. So how does SOfit fit into your existing program? We've broken it down into schools, communities, and virtual. If you're a school, SOfit could be incorporated as part of your unified sports practice, as part of your unified PE class, or as part of a fitness club. In the community setting, if you have 2 practices a week, one could be dedicated to SOfit and the other could be dedicated to your sports-specific practice. In a virtual environment, hosting Zoom or video conferencing sessions and facilitating check-ins with unified partners on a weekly basis is a great way to fit SOfit into your program. Here's a glance at all of the program materials for SOfit. These program materials are provided free of cost to the program. If you prefer to print your own copies or keep a stash at home, you will have access to the files electronically. In a virtual environment, it may be helpful to mail athletes copies of their schedule and athlete playbook and the attached documents. Before you begin your sessions, make sure to take a look at the Program Leader's Manual. The Program Leader's Manual will be the facilitator's one-stop tool to review information from this training, understand the goals of SOfit, and stay on top of key dates in the program. The Curriculum Content Book will help program leaders structure activities and lessons. Content is broken up by pillar of wellness, for example, nutritional, social, physical, and emotional. You will find discussion material, key messages, suggested activities, materials needed, and suggested time to complete activities in the curriculum content. The Athlete Playbook will help athletes follow along with the curriculum and complete activities related to the session on their own. Encourage athletes to read key messages to the group and reference their playbook throughout the lessons. We encourage teams to spend a little extra time in the first session to go over SOfit material. One of the agenda items for the first practice or team meeting will be for athletes to complete the My Personal Health Goal sheet. We recommend using the SMART goals method. SMART goals are often used across all pillars of wellness to promote sustainable, healthy habits. Whether you're a coach or a wellness coordinator, it will be important to work with your athletes and partners to create their personal health goal during week 1 of the SOfit program. Examples include, I want to try and take 10,000 steps per day, 5 days per week for the entire 8-week period. Or, I want to try a new fruit each week. You can hold athletes accountable to their goals by checking in on them each week at practice or during your check-in session on Zoom. This also reinforces that even if athletes and partners don't accomplish their goals in week 1, they're working towards their goals the following week. This is also a great time to celebrate athletes who have completed their assignment or goal for the week. At both the beginning and the end of the SOfit program, usually at week 1 and week 8, we ask that athletes complete a lifestyle survey. These surveys help athletes, coaches, and Special Olympics Washington better understand the effectiveness of our health programming, understand athletes' strengths, and the challenges that they face. This can also be done online. You can let athletes and partners choose which form they prefer. Normally, we take health metrics at the beginning and end of the in-person program. This health metrics sheet is used to capture information such as height, weight, blood pressure, BMI of participants before they start the SOfit program and after. The top half of the sheet should be kept for Special Olympics Washington records, and the bottom half can be given to the athlete to take home and save for their own records. SOA will provide blood pressure cuffs, stadiometers, digital scales, BMI, and blood pressure tables to wellness coordinators or medical volunteers in order to collect accurate pre-participation health metrics at the first meeting or practice of the season. Coaches and wellness coordinators should work together to find an appropriate time and area to take metrics before practice begins. It works well if coaches allocate an extra 30 to 60 minutes at the beginning of the first practice of the season to discuss the program, allow for athletes to have their metrics taken, do lifestyle surveys, and work on their health goals. If your area does not have a wellness coordinator, we will try our best to connect you to a medical volunteer to come have the health metrics taken. While we like to have this information captured in week 1 and week 8 to track weight loss, lowering of blood pressure to a healthy range, etc., this is not mandatory to participate in SOfit. If you know anyone in your community who would be interested in taking health metrics for your team or area, please let us know. For virtual, if athletes or partners have a scale at home, or perhaps they have recently been to the doctor and can self-report on their health metrics before and after the 8-week program, they can do so. If you take anything away from this training, please let it be this, that athletes can and should take leadership roles in helping you implement and run SOfit. Athletes can help promote health and fitness at practice and competition. And here are a few, but not limited, ideas. Even if sessions are occurring online, athlete leaders can help keep the group on track, lead breakout rooms, demonstrate exercises, and share their experiences. We encourage you to bookmark the Special Olympics fitness page because there are no shortage of videos and resources available to you, including the School of Strength and Fit5. For virtual sessions, you will receive a separate document with Zoom tips and trainings. Please make sure you are well versed on these strategies. Breakout rooms have been a successful way to facilitate small conversations in a larger group. We have found Zoom to work best to facilitate these online conversations, but we recognize some schools or communities may not have access or be allowed to use this platform. You can use whatever online networking platform works best for your team. Never hesitate to ask questions, reach out for feedback, or try new ideas. Each team will have different strengths, challenges, resources, and needs. While the structure of SOfit will always be the same, no two programs will be identical. We encourage you to be creative and listen to what the athletes want. If you have any questions, comments, or want to send us some fun photos, please email fitness@sowa.org. Thank you so much.